still got room to level up. You still got room to grow. You still got room to be somebody of value.
Now we see it, where guys are actually having positive influences from the inside on the outside. It may seem impossible in a hopeless place, but hope is not wishful thinking.
I'm grateful to Second Mountain. This is a really revolutionary program. I've never witnessed anything like it before, and I'm so excited for the potential to take this as wide as we possibly can.
Well, good evening again. We are here. Welcome to the Comeback Project. Make some noise, y'all. Come on. We're at Arrowhead Stadium. This is not a library, although we do have librarians that are here in the room. Shout out to, to Ann and Dan, our educators in the building. Well, welcome. Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, this will be a great time for us to silence our phones. We're going to have some incredible, poignant moments, so we don't want those interrupted by some distracting ringing. Well, I'm just going to start by giving you a brief introduction for myself. My name is Rasool Berry. I get to serve as the Director of Content Development and Partnerships at our Daily Bread Ministries, which is how I got connected to our Executive Director for Second Mountain Leadership, Bo Cornelius. And, I have to say that I did not think I would be here. I live in Brooklyn, New York, and this was not on my bingo card. But what happened was I got connected to this whole Second Mountain leadership thing through the Global Leadership Academy and connecting just to seeing what was happening. And it was like, once I got a taste of it, I said, hey, I want to be a part of what's happening here because it is transforming lives, communities. And so Bo said, come on out. And I said, sure. Because, Bo, one thing he knows how to do is to ask for help. He knows how to do that. He's not ashamed. And so I'm grateful for that. But also, I'm excited to be here because we're at Arrowhead Stadium. And I'm a football fan. And any football fans in the building again? And here's the thing. This stadium, where we are right now, is home to some of the most iconic moments in NFL history. And especially when we talk about comebacks. I can't think of a better place to be. Some of you might remember, I'll just kind of think of one, right? January 23rd, 2022, the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs are trading blows. It's in the final stretch, and Josh Allen hits this late game touchdown. Bills took the lead, 29-26, and there's just 13 seconds remaining, y'all. 13 seconds to get in field goal range. That's impossible. Well, or is it? Yeah, no, it wasn't. And you're right. What ends up happening, we see Mahomes, the team go down. Butker hits this very clutch field goal, takes it into overtime. And all of a sudden, we see them win the toss, score the touchdown, game over. And when we think about that kind of deficit, that is not something that people are supposed to overcome. 13 seconds? But play by play, drive by drive, something shifted. They didn't try to fix everything at once. They stayed in the game. They trusted their system. And before it was all over, what looked like a collapse became one of the greatest comebacks in playoff history. Now, I want you to hold that for a minute because I did say I'm a pastor, so I'm going to preach a little bit here, y'all. There's another comeback that we see in the Bible. A guy named Joseph. He was a young man with promise and big dreams. He ended up having some family difficulty, having some bad experiences, and ends up incarcerated. And he was forgotten. And Genesis tells us, though, that while Joseph was in prison, something surprising happened. God was with him, and not too long after he got out, and he was restored, he ends up being also given a shot to not just transform himself, but also be a benefit to his community. He helped restructure a system and a situation in the midst of a famine that ended up saving other people's lives. How about that? People being actually transformed by a formerly incarcerated individual. Far too often, people only see the deficits and they only see the challenges, but don't always see the possibilities. That when you give someone a second chance, when you create a pathway to move forward, when you actually design opportunities for systems to be transformed, there's another pathway forward that can not just bless the individual, but the entire community. And that's what we're here about. That's what the Comeback Project is about. Because if a team with only 13 ticks on the clock can rewrite the ending, and if a man who was once incarcerated and shows up in the Bible and transforms and saves many lives can actually have that impact, how much of a great comeback story can we be a part of? And now we get to hear from somebody who's not just a Bible story, but an actual real life example of this. Someone who also has his own comeback and is actually seeking to bless the lives of others. So could we give a warm welcome to Bo Cornelius, a man with a comeback story.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here tonight, for supporting the work that we do. Rasool came from Brooklyn. There are people from Ann's here from South Carolina. There are people from all over the country who believe in the work, and for that we're so appreciative. So we're going to share some stories tonight, break some bread, and we hope that we can touch some hearts and that you guys leave here with a good idea of how we serve and the work that we do. So thank you for coming, and enjoy the evening.
All right. Well, one thing I have learned is to not be too long when you're the only thing separating people from being able to eat. So what I will just do, if you wouldn't mind bowing your heads, I'll just ask a brief blessing over the food, and then we'll dismiss by tables. Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity that we have here to gather, to be inspired, to be encouraged, and to celebrate the aspect of comebacks. And we ask that you would bless this food, use it for our nourishment. And we thank you in your divine name. Amen. And so we're just going to go in order. And so table 1 and table 2, you may be dismissed to go grab your food. And then we'll just, when you see table 3, when you see them kind of get back, table 1, get to your table, y'all know what to do. Y'all been to a few weddings. Enjoy your meal. All right. We are going to keep this thing moving, but man, I've had a few bites of that barbecue. This is my first time in Kansas City, and the barbecue is known, the reputation precedes it, and I'm a bit of a foodie, so I had to kind of just go, okay, and I have to say, the half has never been told. The level of smokiness here, I'm a fan already, thumbs up. Definitely approve. So I've been tasked with also letting you know that we have some additional items that have just come into the silent auction. You want to definitely check those out before you leave, and just kind of get a peep on what's going on over there as we go throughout the night. All right. Well, like I said, this is my first time in Kansas City, and I'm about to. Is this a safe space where I can tell you where I was born and raised? Because it wasn't Brooklyn, y'all. Philadelphia. Hey. Now, we've been developing a good rapport. We got a good thing going on, y'all. So, just bear with me for a second. Because, this is a hard thing for me to describe, to be here and extol the virtues of Kansas City comebacks. And, of course, it would be incomplete without talking about a comeback that I would rather forget. Super Bowl. Chiefs down 24-14 at the half. And, you know, I would just say this. I, as an Eagles fan, but who's also a pastor, I'm not going to say that I was happy to see Patrick Mahomes limping off the field. But let's just say I wasn't really sad either. You know, I was like, okay, we haven't won one, you know, in a long time. Like, you know, I'm just like, okay, we got this. Well, I still remember it like it was yesterday to see this play when he come back from the locker room, and I'm thinking we're going to play against a hobbled quarterback, and he does this little sprint, you know, 9-10 yards to get the first down, and I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be a long night. And so what happened was, of course, as we all know, he was injured, but he still showed up and helped us to see that early deficits were not his final identity. And that also has something in common with the person that we get to hear from next, someone I got the chance to meet, who also had his own setbacks early in life that also connected with a story of incarceration, but that didn't define him as well. And the comeback that he has made is continuing to be tremendous. And so I want you to welcome to the stage somebody who has spent a long time at Jefferson City Correctional Center. Combined with that, and Missouri State Penitentiary was there for a combined 23 and a half years for a crime that he didn't commit. And where a lot of people would have just left and moved on with their life and trying to close a dark chapter, he's decided to try to help others not just have a life that has hope, but also make their own comebacks. And so he's somebody that I have grown to meet and be very fond of and have a lot of time connecting with. So would you please join me in welcoming to the stage Mr. Jonathan Irons. So John, I'm going to ask Jonathan a few questions here as we go. Oh, okay, you came prepared with a mic. So he's going to do this thing. So Jonathan, I'm curious. You were first incarcerated at 16 years old.
Yes.
You got up. How old were you when you re-entered society?
I was 40.
You were 40 years old.
Yeah, I was 40 years old.
What did it feel like just coming back into society?
Man, I went through a plethora of emotions. I was absolutely elated and happy. I was afraid. You wonder, like, a guy just served all that time. What are you afraid of? Like, you'd be surprised how many big tough guys that you see in prison. If you work in corrections, they're really afraid. At the end of the day, I was afraid of the unknown. When I left the streets, they had beepers. The ones that you turn on. Mine wasn't on, but I would use it to pretend like I was somebody because I was young, trying to imitate. So when I come home, my wife says, "I got this phone for you." She hands it to me, and like I don't even know how to turn it on. I'm like, man, what do I do? She says, "See that little phone thing right there?" I'm like, yeah, I see it. She said, you're gonna hit it. So I hit the phone. Wow, I hit the phone. She said, not like that. I said, oh. She said, use your finger. So I hit it, and like a keypad came up. Like, oh, I see numbers. And she's laughing at me. She said, now dial my phone number. I start dialing her phone number, but then I put my inmate number down, which is another 7 digits, and a PIN number. And she's like, you ain't got to use all those numbers, baby. I was like, oh, I didn't know. Now I'm teaching people how to use phones, but I had the benefit of people in my life to encourage me and help me transition and just give me a place to land and a place to fail safely.
Wow, it's some things that folks take for granted, but that took a process. So what helped you to succeed and actually get to a place where you got your legs under you and something as simple and mundane that, is using a phone to even finding work and a home and all of those things? What helped you with that?
I would say leaning into discomfort and not being intimidated by the things that I feared or And then starting to, trying to get excited about problems that I would have because it gave me the ability to learn. And then I got acquainted with YouTube, which is great. I was fixing all type of stuff in the house. So it's like walking around, I had drills, I had my tool bag. Some I learned on YouTube. I've learned how to operate machinery because of YouTube. And come to find out, that's a thing. Like people, like they teach classes because I'm a visual learner, and I had used to, reading everything. I probably read enough documents to fill at least half of that room over the years of my incarceration, trying to learn. And like I wrote the first draft of my habeas petition. Everybody who knew me knew that I stayed in the library trying to learn and figure some out. Like now I'm out here learning and figure things out. And then look, my people in my life. The people in your life, people think, like, well, I really ain't got nothing to offer. I don't know what to say. Like sometimes, man, just being who you are. Like my friend's mom, James Dunn. He's been a long time friend of mine, and he would tell me, he's like, man, like my mom is what's keeping me going, man. I got to get out there to my mom and my family. Like your loved ones, man, they carry you farther than what you believe, and being able to set something up where people can connect with their families, man, that is an anchor, and that keeps you from jumping off of that cliff in there, because you have cliffs at every turn. You have a reason to give up. You have a reason to be violent. You have a reason to be angry. And then people that are actually convicted, it's like they have the shame of like, man, I don't like how I'm treated, but I committed a crime. And I deserve what I'm going through. But just having people love you through that, loving them through the shame, and then staff members now are pouring into people, man. And me coming back, seeing that's been therapeutic for me. Like that has been so essential for me to come back and share my story and my encouragement, because everybody there know me. They know I am, the staff know me, and I know the prison, and I saw it at its worst. I've saw so many different transitions I was able to see at the ground level what worked and what didn't. And like, at the end of the day, the people in your lives that support you, they ain't even got to be family. Just showing up every day and say, hey, man, I see you. You're a person. You matter. I honor your humanity.
So beautiful. And one of the things that's so special about this room, it's a very unique room. We have a combination of people here. We have folks in Department of Corrections, Federal Bureau of Prisons. We have people who are connected as family members to those who are on the inside, married, their fathers. We have folks who are just extensions of family and friends who just care about this. And what I'm hearing from you is what helped you to thrive was this aspect of a cohesive network of connection, that it took everybody playing their part.
A village. It takes a village.
And there's somebody that I know is special to you who talks a lot about this from a team concept. And she always talks about that we're part of the same team. And she also is somebody that knows a little bit about comebacks, has a famous shot that actually brought her team over the line with the Minnesota Lynx. Would you tell us a little bit about who that is?
Oh, my better half. The love of my life, man, Maya Moore.
Yes, Maya Moore Irons now.
Yes, Maya Moore.
Just got inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, she
in
checks
the fall.
me on that too.
Yeah. And so here's the thing that we just want to highlight for you, because I got a chance to know this guy as we went to JCCC and Algoa together, and we wanted to help others to experience this transformation of what happens when people make the return. There's a big word out there called recidivism that is oftentimes this lurking cloud about what happens when someone leaves and then they have to go back into prison. But this aspect in this story of the return tells a much different story about going back. Someone going back not because of a cycle of mistakes, but to be a breaker of the cycle in a system of hope. So we're going to let you see this trailer of Jonathan making his return. So let's check it out right now.
And when I came here, I was in disbelief. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I still have that feeling. I'm like, I can't believe I'm here right now. I was dropped off in the jungle, never given any instructions, and I had to figure out how to survive. There's no textbook that would train you for an environment like this.
23 years after his wrongful conviction, Jonathan Irons is a free man.
They told me I'd be back, and I told them it was right, and I am back. I said, I'll be back, but just not in the way that you want. This is it. This is where I lived. Wow, I can literally touch wall to wall. I would say my faith was water for me in this dry land. Helped me maintain it, helped me deal with the anguish that I dealt with daily. It is my hope and my desire for men in prison to hear me and see my life as an example, to cling to hope, and to definitely see that God is real and present and that he will come through for you. We can't keep doing what we've been doing. We have to learn and develop new habits, and we have to have an environment for that. If you develop habits and you use prison as your preparation ground, like there's so many things waiting for you out there in society.
Coming soon, the return. Let's give it up again for Jonathan and all of those who participated and contributed. I see so many familiar faces from that experience and that journey, which I know how much it changed me, so I know it's about to change a lot of people. I have had the opportunity of screening it a couple times in some small gatherings, and folks all over the country and really all over the world are about to be blessed. So with that, we're going to give you an opportunity to finish eating your meals, finish checking out what's going on over at the silent auction. Don't forget about the dessert table as well. And we'll be just giving you some moments to finish enjoying, and we'll come back up in a few. Enjoy.
So I wanted to take a second and talk about the last 3 days that we've had. Bear with me, pretty tired, and these lights are really bright. For the last 3 days, we've been in several prisons. We've been fortunate to be joined by some individuals from the Bureau of Prisons, as well as the Missouri Department of Corrections. And I think, I would be remiss if I didn't mention to the rest of the room that they were here. So they've traveled a great distance to be with us. Grateful for it, but really people of impact. First and foremost, from the Bureau of Prisons is Warden Andrea Burnside, and she's helping us pilot the GLA program in Ashland, Kentucky at FCI Ashland, and it has been the best launch of GLA so far, and she is a hero of a leader, and we've just been so grateful to work with her. Dustin Berniski is the Correction Services Administrator for that region, the Mid-Atlantic region, which is 15 prisons. He has spent the last 3 days with us. Wednesday we were in Leavenworth Prison, where we saw the oldest prison in the Bureau of Prisons, 130 years old, and then we toured a prison that'll be open in 2 months in Leavenworth. That'll be the newest prison in the Bureau of Prisons. So getting to see that full swing and being with some of the people who work in the Bureau, it was just an amazing day. Andy Matavosin is a regional director. So this guy here is responsible for 20 prisons in the middle of the country, and probably if you've heard of famous prisons like ADX, this is the guy that is ultimately responsible for everything that happens at 20 facilities. We're here because of a relationship that we have with the current Deputy Director of the Bureau of Prisons, Josh Smith. I met Josh Smith while I was incarcerated at Algoa. He was coming through on a tour. My warden came to me and said, "Hey, we got this guy that got a pardon from Trump coming through. Can you come tell him about GLA?" That was in 2020. A whole lot of other things have happened. You saw the video that we showed earlier. We crossed paths in a hotel. He told me that he was there to give the governor's prayer breakfast talk and that he was being vetted for the position that he currently carries. And after I picked my chin and tongue up off the floor, just an amazing thing. We were just looking for a way to make this happen, and who's doing what we want to do. Who is trying to make prisons a place where people are rehabilitated and not victimized. And this was the guy. So this is a video message from him, and I want to thank the individuals in the room. Ann Presite, the former director of the Missouri Department of Corrections. Her career spanned the same as my prison career. Hers was a little bit more glorious, but she came in a few months before I got there, and she left a few months after I left, and so I really got to see that transition when I got there. Everybody called it the Department of Corruption, and now I know so much about the story of the work that she did to help start the change that we're seeing. There are leaders from the Missouri Department of Corrections, but I told Abby if I start recognizing people, then I'm going to have to say something about everybody in the room. So I just wanted to take a minute and say thank you to those individuals and bring recognition to the fact that these are some very important people that, they carry a lot of ability to make change in prison. And that's what we're trying to do. We're not here to start a program. We're not here to make ends meet. We are here to change prison. If we can't do that, I'll go estimate paintwork or do something much easier than going into prisons every week. So here's a message from Deputy Director Smith. Thanks.
I'm just the emotional support wife.
Hello. I'm Josh Smith, Deputy Director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And I just wanted to send a video message, since I can't be there, unfortunately, in person, to just say thank you. To Second Mountain, to Bo, to all of your team, the work that you guys are doing is having a tremendous impact inside of institutions. I know they're in Missouri and already starting inside of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. You know, I get to see a lot of great programs. There's a lot of people that are impassioned about what they do. I get to see some programs function better than others. But every once in a while, you'll see ministries and programs that have an impact that is even greater than many others. And I'll tell you, what the focus has been with leadership, the investment in staff and inmates together, it is leaving a real impression, and it is making a big difference. And so I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Second Mountain. Thank you for all of you that support that work. I'm just telling you, as someone gets to see and hear from our staff and from the inmates, it is having an impact. So thank you for what you do. We look forward to continue working with you and seeing how we can spread this impact all across the country. Have a great night.
Man, so many amazing things that we just heard in that one little presentation, right? From Bo talking about his points of connection with Joshua Smith and others here in the room, and seeing how this thing is continuing to grow and expand in ways that are pretty remarkable. So that's one of the remarkable things that just happened. But there was something else that happened that was pretty remarkable that I don't think you guys really fully appreciated. I, as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, spoke positively about a comeback that broke my heart a few years ago, and I got no reaction from you all. Can you show? I respect the leadership and the amazing dynasty of the Kansas City Chiefs. Can you give me some love for that, please? My goodness. In fact, I got another interesting story to regale you with your just amazing stories of how you guys have been so awesome over the last few years. So it could be argued that this special moment, maybe launched the Chiefs dynasty. It was the AFC divisional round, 2019 season. Chiefs were down 24 to what? 0. Early in the second quarter. And the Chiefs would go on to score 41 straight points. to defeat who? The Texans. I heard somebody, just say it out there. The Houston Texans. What looked like a collapse of epic proportions turned into domination. And this was the first sign that something different was brewing. Because you see, some of you guys remember the previous 3 years had ended in heartbreak and playoff disappointment. But now there was a leadership shift, a cultural shift that was brewing that would actually become this thing we call a dynasty. And I'm talking about that because what it gives us is a snapshot that systems take time to change. And they take leaders who see the possibilities. And who we're about to hear from next is a man who has risen through the ranks as a CO to now being the director of adult institutions in the Missouri Department of Corrections. And he's all about leadership, culture, and change. Would you please join me in welcoming up Mr. Myles Strid. So, Myles, you remember that game I was just talking about?
I actually do, yeah.
Fond memories of it, huh?
Very much. My grandfather was a Chiefs fan from the day he was able to be when they came up here to Missouri, and I watched every game.
Okay, great. So you are going to kind of share with us about a story of leadership and culture and change. Tell us a little bit about what we're about to watch and why it's so significant.
Okay. So first, I just want to start, to tell that story, I want to tell you just a little bit about myself. I started off as a corrections officer at the Jefferson City Correctional Center. I've worked my way through the ranks. I was a sergeant, I was a lieutenant, I was a captain, I was a major, which is our chief of security. I spent 10 years on the Corrections Emergency Response Team, which is the equivalent to basically a SWAT team in the police department outside on the streets. So I've worked inside of Missouri prisons my entire career. And what I will say is this, it's been tough. Corrections is not an easy job. And you've heard from people like Jonathan, you've heard from Bo, you're gonna hear from other folks tonight talk about the side from the residents and the things that they've experienced inside of prisons and during their incarceration. But there's another side to the story too. There's the things that staff experience and that they go through. And what I love about Second Mountain and their partnership with us in Missouri is they work with both. They're passionate about leadership on both sides, and that's what makes it magical. So you're going to see videos tonight. You're going to hear from people speaking about the things that are changing inside of Missouri prisons. But yeah, I mean, I've lived it. I've seen what the Jeff City Correctional Center was. I was an officer in the Jeff City Correctional Center. I received an award of valor from the director working at the Jeff City Correctional Center, and that wasn't for leadership. So I just tell you all that to know that the things that you're seeing tonight and that you're hearing tonight are real. I now supervise 19 correctional facilities across the state of Missouri, so every prison in the state falls underneath my command. There's 25,077 men and women inside of our prisons right now. That's the number I got right before I stepped up here. And 3 juveniles, believe it or not. And so in addition to that, there are 10,000 Missourians working inside of our prisons. 10,000. So just think about those numbers for a short time and the impact that a group like Second Mountain that's grown from someone like Bo Cornelius who came out of our facilities can have on that many people. Now just imagine the people they impact. The men and women that are on the outside waiting for them to get out, the children that are waiting for them to come home and be parents, both staff and offenders. And so I just say that to say you're going to see a video about the Jeff City Correctional Center. Just know that what you're seeing and hearing tonight is real. The impact is real, and the difference that we're making in Missouri with Second Mountain is real. And so I appreciate you all being here. It's an honor to stand up here. There's a ton of my staff in here, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, and a lot of formerly incarcerated folks in the group. Thank you all so much for being here, and I hope that the stories have an impact on you. So.
All right. With that, let's watch the video.
Just violent, I think. I say hopeless. There was nothing to look forward to here. Prison as you would expect it to be.
The staff and the offenders just could not talk to each other. When I was going through the gym to cut through, the ball was rolling by, and I picked up the basketball, and I was shooting it, and there was guys, and they were shooting it back to me, and a sergeant come up to me. He's like, "We don't do that here. You don't do that. You'll get rolled up."
You know, there were times where he would come home and say, "There's a hit on me."
You have a major staff assault, they would quit because they want nothing to do with that. You know, they're not ready for that.
You hire people, we kill them with overtime. Man, they're out. They don't want that.
JCCC got all the way down to 38% staffing.
Getting home, getting undressed, I look at my cell phone and it's ringing and it says JCCC on it. And I've only been home 30 minutes. I need you to come back. We've got a problem. I missed out on a lot of school stuff for the kids.
And I always remembered it was days where he would come home and I just need to take a nap. Okay, it must have been one of those days.
Loud noises were setting me off. I mean, it was just, and it was every day. Every day. When is it gonna stop? What are we gonna do? It was like this big pot of water. It was like the lid on it was just rattling real hard, and nobody could turn the temperature down, nothing. That's how it was for about 3 years. And then we heard Kelly Morris is coming. He's gonna be our warden.
I said, we're gonna start saying good morning and good afternoon. We're gonna start treating people like human beings. I'd experienced GLA at Algoa Correctional Center. I experienced honor dorms. We've had tremendous success there.
He wasn't there to improve the status quo. He was there to turn the status quo up on its head. I was surprised how quick he called and said, "Bo, I got to get you and Kyle over here and get my GLA going. It's going to be with my major."
And then I chose 6 of my CERT members in the first GLA class because those guys are the ones that no one wants to see come to the facility.
It's where you and offenders are going to come together and you'll start talking and decide. It's about leadership, and they're like, "Great, one more thing you want to put me in? Awesome, thank you so much." I was extremely skeptical. Major Graham's doing the first class, he's teaching it. And we get done and he says, "Okay, so now going forward, you all will be teaching. Captain Davison, you're gonna be doing the first one." And I'm like, "Okay, all right. JD, you're gonna do that with me."
What? I didn't. He's like, "Oh yeah, we got it." So, what'd I say? I might have said you.
He designates a guy who's been down for 3 decades. You're like, whoa.
It floored everybody in there, but he accepted it. And once he accepted it, their posture changed. Their legs came together. They sat up like, "Oh man, they're being serious. We got to really do this." And Graham meant business. Like, "JD, we can't fail." And we did it together. And we killed it. We made this imaginary line for no reason, when in reality we can coexist just fine. JD and I just took on a 2.5-hour teaching of leadership from a video that he and I sat down together and watched. That was pretty amazing.
Captain Davison is the CERT commander. They're cuffing guys outside their cell like they do. He's screaming. And that's typical, but as I go up to my door and look out, he's yelling at the CERT team, not at us. You're not gonna tear these guys' stuff up. You're gonna come in, you strip them, search their stuff, get out. Don't be disrespectful. Just do your job and leave. A moment that you knew, okay, he bought in, he's doing something different. And then you see gradually different staff carrying out their duties in a different way. You are like, okay, you're buying in. It's never gonna be perfect, but you can see the change. You can see it coming.
Would you be okay with my GLA class to come together and have a softball game on the same team? He said, "Not what we're supposed to be doing." "Yes, sir." "Then do it." Like, it's so simple. That was not okay, 2 years ago. And now that's socially acceptable in here.
January 2024, this facility had roughly 120 uses of force in 1 month. In January 2025, we had 30. We became one of the top facilities at retaining staff?
We have a lot of staff that bring in their family and their friends now. What does that show is they feel good here.
When I walk into 2 House, I don't feel like I'm in a prison. It's the vibe is totally different.
Pretty relaxed prison. It's a level 5 prison, and it's pretty chill. I think GLA has almost everything to do with that.
When those offenders see that, this is different. They rise up, you know, and they try to assist you with the culture change.
Culture change is when a small group of people find a better way to live and other people try to follow. And so that's what GLA really is. It's 20 or 30 individuals in a prison of 1,800 that get together and do something bigger than themselves.
I knew some of these guys when I was here, and it makes me happy for them that they have a better environment to be in as well.
The world changes, and it's time for corrections to change. GLA offers rehabilitation. So when we treat the residents like people inside, we're not just releasing people with better skills on how to be a better criminal. We're releasing them out to be better people because we treated them better in here and giving them the resources to live on the outside world.
A lot of the naysayers said, well, it's a minimum level facility at Algoa Correctional Center. Yeah, you know, anybody can do that. If you can do it at level 5, it can be done anywhere.
We went on a road show for GLA and GLS. 4 camps, 4 different institutions, one being a federal. That's not possible. That will never happen. The same thing was said, that'll never happen. When I got to tell them what we did and how things have changed and how things have improved and how life had gotten better, everybody wanted a piece of that.
I feel like everywhere we go that's new to pilot this thing, both offender and staff are so ready for something different. In my opinion, GLA is highly scalable and replicable. This requires support, not allowance. And if you give it that, it will pay you in dividends.
You have to have a warden, deputy warden, a leader saying it's okay to do this within my facility. It's not weak anymore. It's how I want things done. If you care about your facility, if you care about your staff, if you care about your offender population, and you want a safer and secure facility, do GLA. Try the honor dorms concept. Try to do things differently. I can't say enough about what we're doing here and the staff that are doing it. It's amazing. Been around 35 years, and I'm happier now than I've ever been in my career. It's due to the environment change.
Things have really gotten better here. I don't take it home anymore. I can leave it here now. That has improved my work-life balance. That has improved my marriage. That has improved my relationship with my children. There's a lot to be thankful for now.
We're learning the same things together. It's putting us on an even playing field, you know, and you're seeing me in a different light, and I'm seeing you in a different light. You have to see me as a human now. You have to.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And the story just continues to unfold. One little brief housekeeping item before we move on. The silent auction is about to close. You got about 5 minutes. So this is your last opportunity to go over, check out all the things that you might need for Mother's Day, Father's Day, Chiefs paraphernalia, a Royals ticket, all the things. Please check it out. And as we keep this moving, Myles, I'm just curious about, as you watch that, right, what comes to your mind? What are some things you think about as you see that?
Something that comes to my mind is just, well, first I'm just going to say I'm going to get a little off script, which I don't really have one. But what comes to my mind is public safety. I mean, quite literally, the work that they're doing inside of the Jefferson City Correctional Center is making the public more safe, and it's returning people to society where they can be successful, and it's making our staff healthy and well. So that's what I see when I see that video.
Wow. Yeah. The thing that really hit me was, like you said, the overall quality of life that everybody was attesting to, right? But The thing I'm curious about, and as someone who has risen through the ranks, you already shared with that, and now leads on a statewide level. You mentioned 19 different institutions. What does it take to create that kind of culture change?
I think it takes bravery, honestly. I think that standing up against a culture, I won't even necessarily blame it on a culture. Let's just say standing up against correctional norms that have been around for so long. I mean, the Jefferson City Correctional Center replaced the Missouri State Prison that was built in 1836. And there's been a lineage of correctional officers and offenders that have been entrenched in that culture and entrenched in that facility since that day that it opened. And so it takes a lot of bravery to stand up and push back against practices, culture, feelings, and opinions that have existed for so long.
You know, we got a chance to meet briefly when we, came back with Jonathan and shot that. And I remember one thing also because it made the cut in the film. So you're in the return, congratulations. But in it, you were talking with Jonathan, y'all were walking through JCCC, and you were saying that culture change takes leaders. Expound on that a little bit.
Well, you certainly can't change a culture from the back of a room. And so if you want to change a culture, especially in a prison, you have to be someone that can appeal to both sides, right? Believe it or not, the offender population inside of a facility wants something a little different than what the staff typically want. And so to me, a leader is somebody that can stand up to that and someone that can bring a new idea, something new that brings both of those groups together.
So bravery, leadership, and then the institutional level. What's an example of someone or some situation that you think embodies all those things?
Well, I'm going to tell you it's Warden Kelly Morse. I mean, quite literally. I want to say something. I gave you all my story, but Kelly Morse was the deputy warden at the facility. I was a corrections officer. He hired me as a captain to come back to that facility. He has always been looking for innovation and leadership his entire career, and he's found it. So Warden Kelly Morse is the example I would use of a leader.
Well, you heard it here first. And so, as a result of that testimony, we have as our recipient for the first ever Brave Leadership in Corrections Award, Warden Morris. Could you just wave to everybody and stand up, please. Stand up, sir. Stand up. And we're about to see a video to take you inside of why we're doing this and why we're honoring him. Check it out, and then we'll bring him up.
What I'm proudest of in my career, my ability to change and lead others in that change.
The culture of the department was that administrators rarely, if ever, came to the yard. But I remember the first time I saw him in the prison. I was working out in the gym and somebody pointed him and the major out. And I was probably 6 months into a sentence, and it's like, there's the guy who orchestrates all of this misery and bad stuff on us. Whatever preconceived notions we have, he flipped that on its head and grew what has turned into a decade relationship.
GLA is one piece of that entire puzzle. And I said in one of the first meetings, it felt like a college class that all of us were students and getting wisdom. It didn't feel like a prison. I felt that this could go somewhere because it opened up my eyes because, I was trained one way my entire career. The opportunity presented itself here. I wanted to prove to everybody that it could have even a bigger impact at a level 5 facility, maximum level.
It was like fighting a war every day. Staff against offenders, offenders against staff. All the human beings that live here and work here feeling the exact same way. How do you change that?
You sit back and you're like, how's he gonna pull this off? How is he gonna do this down here? It's a level 5 prison. Does he not realize that? And then it was just like.
And he called all the captains in. We're gonna do things differently. You're gonna see some things that are gonna be a little off that you're not used to. and that's okay. But I need you all to agree with me that where I'm going, I need you to jump on board. And I said, I'm in.
Pretty much turned it upside down. Maybe not even 2 years, and the prison is completely different.
Kelly Moores is a man who brings hope to a hopeless situation. It used to be a thing of keeping us quiet and making sure, push them to the side, throw us away. He said, nah, these men in here doing some good things. I want to show y'all what they in here doing. So they not the animals that you heard about.
We were just about done with this honor dorm. There were guys down here working day after day with no chance of moving in this house, but they just wanted to be a part of the community building. As we were walking through C&D wing, I was telling him, I said, hey, the guys moving into this house are excited. They think it's great, and you know, they can't wait to move in. However, what about everybody else? His words were, JD, give me 2 guys who don't quite fit the criteria, but you think should be in the house. And those 2 guys moved in day 1. If you're working towards doing what's right, he'll give you a chance, and them guys are still in this house thriving.
Warden Kelly Morris always say, for 30 years, y'all asked me to let y'all run stuff. Now I'm gonna let y'all run it.
I feel like I could walk into his office any day of the week and sit down and talk with him about new ideas or new plans. His answer is always the same. Hey, we'll try it, and if there's no problems, we'll continue it.
When you give me somewhere to go and take a deep breath, somewhere to go figure out who I am and what I'm trying to get to, that is so valuable, and it's so needed, and it's so like just, we need more of it, it's missed. I wish people would follow his example.
There's very few leaders that can relinquish enough control for you to grow into who you should become. And I'm not the only person that feels that he did that for me.
I want you to be you. That's what he told me. And no one's ever told me that before. So I actually got to be Norman Graham, not Major Graham.
And I love working for somebody who has a passion for the job. He's been past his retirement for a long time, and the man wants to be here.
Kelly Morris is able to show what you think is something that's big and horrible at the moment. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. He's not a complex leader, you know? Like, it's just, it's easy for him. I don't know how else to explain the man.
Walked around the institution not all the time, by himself. You don't see that. He actually injected himself into the culture of the facility.
Everything he said he'd come here to do, he's been doing. From the honor dorm to the family visits that are gonna occur next month to, I don't think there's been an event asked for that he hasn't okayed.
To give a young up-and-coming guy like Kyle Kempker a chance, somebody like me and GLA a chance, we asked him to come, he had to say yes. And then when he came, he had to stay. And if those things didn't happen, we're not here today. I don't think what I'm doing is rocket science. And I'll be very honest with you, kind of ashamed that I wasn't allowed and didn't think of it earlier in my career. Because I can tell you the way I practice corrections now, I'm happier than I have ever been. I have a little bitty part about changing the way we do corrections, not only in Missouri, but hopefully nationwide, because this can be done anywhere. You just have to have the people that want to do it.
Kelly, thank you for all the opportunities you gave me.
And you're the first person that allowed me to be me. And I believe that's where I grew in this department, and I really appreciate everything you did for me.
I don't feel like I have to be a certain way now with one side or the other. I get to just be me, and I can't thank him enough for that.
Thank you, Kelly, for allowing Justin to be part of this movement. And I assure you, I can't speak solely for him, but I assure you he will continue the work.
I appreciate you as a boss, a mentor. Thank you for listening to me and my crazy ideas and kind of just bringing me along the way. And I thank you for continuing to keep pushing me to do better.
I want to thank you for coming down here and bringing Bo Cornelius with you.
I appreciate you being about your word, and you definitely surprised me with some of the things you've done, and I appreciate it.
And I had never in 24 years felt so empowered by anybody, let alone a staff member here at Jefferson City Correctional Center, any board in the Department of Corrections. And I thank you for that.
You showed that you came in with a vision, not only for yourself and not only for me, but for everyone, rising and seeing to a certain level that's above and beyond what they even thought.
In all my years in prison, I never thought I'd see anything like this. You have humanized me within a place that is designed to dehumanize me.
I mean, who would have thought that these little things would add up to a big thing? And so thank you for allowing that to happen. There's thousands of wardens, but there's one Mr. Morris, and that's why we're here. So I would just say thank you.
Now, this stadium, as we've been sharing different histories of incredible moments that have caused people to win football games, and sitting and clapping is, you know, that'd be nice for that. But I kind of have a picture of Arrowhead with someone who's completely transformed cultures and people's lives, that maybe, just maybe, we just watched something that's more impressive than a comeback in a football game. Would you please join me in welcoming to the stage Warden Kelly Morris? Come on. Yes, I think that's worthy of a standing ovation, sir. Congratulations.
Back it up there.
He's going to do the photos first.
Thanks for the chance.
Just a little, some words. I'm really choked up about it. I never expected anything like this, but just do the right thing. You know, all my staff, we talk about policies and procedures in our admin building, and I always tell them, do the right thing. What is the right thing? And for the wardens, administrators, and the institutions looking for a way, just do the right thing. It's so simple. It's treating people as human beings. And we haven't done that in corrections in the past, but it's changed now. And Missouri's on board, and I hope it spreads throughout the country, because everybody deserves better, not only the offenders, but our families and the staff. So thank you.
Oh, man. So, you know, one of the things when I first met Warden Morris, it was actually, he had on the Chiefs lanyard. And you saw that in probably some of the images that came on. So I imagine that you've been walking with us through memory lane and kind of enjoying some of these highlights. But one thing that the Chiefs show us is everybody needs a coach. And this is where me, as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, can say, you're welcome. Because we gave aspiring Andy Reid was probably one of the most significant things that have happened in Chiefs football history. So you're welcome. But in 2019, there was one particular moment where we got to see the power of a coach. Chiefs were down in Super Bowl. Which one was that now? 45, 44? I can't remember. It's been so many. They were down by 10 in the fourth quarter versus the 49ers. And Big Red, as he's known, called the play WASP. And it flipped the momentum when everything looked like it was finished. And Andy Reid reportedly said to Patrick Mahomes, do it, be great. Do it, be great. That's the kind of thing that coaches draw out of teams. And that's the kind of thing that inspires the kind of vision and perspective and pulling everyone in the same direction. And in a unique, and I would say even kind of divine twist of fate, we have now the privilege of hearing from someone who was coached by Andy Reid and is now a head coach at Rio Grande University. He was coached by Andy Reid in Philly, by the way, y'all, and went to the Super Bowl with the Eagles. Would you join me in welcoming up head coach Mike Bartrum, ladies and gentlemen? And Bo.
There you go. You want me to start? Yeah. So, earlier last year, I got a call from Josh Smith that you heard from earlier and said, hey, I got this guy that's going to onboard with the Bureau of Prisons. And, he knew I was in facilities a lot. And he asked if I could kind of put him through the ringer and show him the facilities that I was working in. And I was like, great. It's Josh Smith. I gotta help him, but I'm kind of got a lot going on right now. And anyway, real long story short is I get a phone call from this guy. He's like, yes, Mr. Bo, where are we meeting? I'm going to drive. I'll meet you there in the morning. And I'm like, wow, this guy sounds like me on the phone. I wonder if he's going to bring his wallet and his keys. So he meets me at the first facility, and it was just one experience after the other, where we both were just having these light bulbs. It was just it was the sum of the whole is greater than the individual parts, and we just both knew that was happening. So we have a short video that we made from Coach, but I wanted to kind of have Coach talk a little bit about that experience, and I'm wondering if there's like one or two things in particular that you remember that really stick out to you.
Thank you. First and foremost, Jesus Christ is why we're here. And, if it wasn't for him, a hellion like me as a kid until 27, about 25 miles down the road, was saved with our little godson out here in Overland Park, Kansas. And I feel that day in my life was just a stepping stone for where God's leading, not me, all of us. Because it's not about me. It's not about Bo. It's not about everybody else here. It's about him. And it's about playing for, living for, and breathing for something bigger than yourself. For me, it's God. So on our money, sorry, Mr. Bo, you're going to hear this again. On our money, our forefathers put in God we trust. Two very important, God and trust. So when Mr. Marshall, he is now as you all well know, the director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, little guy, 5-7 years old, back in Meigs County, Ohio, long ways away from here. A little guy, probably 8-9 years old, couple 3 years older than me, over in Mason County. I grew up in Meigs County, go across the bridge. We started playing ball against each other. His father was a coach, my father was a coach, and then we'd play on these little all-star teams together. And then we became friends, and he goes to Marshall a few years before I went to Marshall. We stayed in touch. He gets into the state trooper world of West Virginia. He retires. He then becomes over all the prisons in West Virginia. I come back in a lot of different things in my life, and then come back to Marshall to coach. So every time we did a lot of group settings, it was always good to call Mr. Marshall, can we use those prison vans to take our team to do this? Hey, can we use those big prison buses when we go do this? And so we just continue to develop relationships. So a couple years later, which was about 1.5 years ago, he asked me to be a part of the leadership team. So we'll go back to In God We Trust. I get a call from him to do this, meet Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith then introduced me to Mr. Bo, and it goes back since we were little kids, because he trusts me and I trust him. I not only come out here, I give my social security number, I give my driver's license number, because I trust Billy Marshall, that trusts Josh Smith, that trusts Bo Cornelius, that trusts. So the common denominator is exactly what's on our money. And when I go through the prisons with Mr. Bo, I love teaching. I love coaching. I love kids, because guess what we all are? We're miracles. Our oldest son was born right down the street here. And he had an APGAR score, which I don't even know what that even means to this day, but I remember them talking about it, of 1. That means he was almost dead. My wife lost a ton of blood right at that hospital, 30 minutes down the road. And I didn't realize, until you lose something or you feel like you could lose something. But then that made me realize once they put him back to the NIC unit, he ended up being okay. My wife ended up being okay. Just what miracles. And I apologize to my mom to this day. She's 85 because you see this big old head. Well, that's what was wrong with my wife because he was stuck in the birth canal for like 4, 5, 10, 12 hours. So I apologize to my mom all the time because at the end of the day, when we're miracles and we're not paying it forward, that's a problem. When we're not treating people how we need to be treated, how we would like to be treated, just do the right thing. I never heard of emotional intelligence in my life. I'm not very smart either. I try to work hard. But once you taught me what empathy is, to meet people where their shoes are, even those colored shoes, I don't know, what are those? Exactly. I know, I'm talking about on the front of them. Are those like flowers? That's nice. I like it. I learn something. See, you learn something new every day. But when you meet people where your feet are, so I spoke at a prison because a guy I played with at Marshall. In about 2 days after I got the text from Mr. Marshall, Billy Marshall, to come as part of the federal prisons. And when I stood up in front of women at one prison and men in another prison, you know what? I thought of myself because I could have been in prison and numerous things of the stupid things I've done in my life. When I went to the women's prison, I had all this scripture and I was all ready to sermon and I just said, by the graces of God, I said, how many of you all have children? And they all raised their hand. So we go back to the miracles. We go back to why we're here. We're here to serve each other. That's what Jesus did for us. So why aren't we serving? Especially for people like me that might be in prison that come and say, hey man, I love you. Hey man, I feel for you. Hey man, what do you need from me? What can we do to help you? So my first little stint in Ashland, Mrs. Burnside sitting there, thank you. You showed me what that means when we went to the camp that day. And we went to the camp that day, my second day on the job, third day on the job. That's what she showed. And that's what life is about. And that's why we're here. Second Mountain, Bo Cornelius, thank you so much for having an impact on my life at 53, 54 years old. And I will never, ever turn you down to go work in any prison in the United States of America. Thank you. Appreciate it. My name is Mike Bartrum. I'm the head football coach at the University of Ragland. I've never been in prison before in my life. A fellow teammate that I had at Marshall University named Jared Thomas. He asked me to come speak. I asked them probably 40 women, and God put on my heart and said, how many of y'all had children? And they all raised their hand. So it broke my heart. There's so many kids out there without their mama. Then I went to the men's prison, and as I'm speaking, it just left an impact on my life. Billy Marshall, that's now leads the whole Federal Bureau of Prisons. He is the director. He texted me 2 days later. He said, hey, brother, you ready for a new job position? I love coaching, and I'm thinking, there's nothing that's going to bring me away from coaching. But he did.
Last summer, I got a call from Josh Smith, who's now the Deputy Director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. He told me, hey, I got this great guy. He spoke at a prison in Kentucky. He's a former NFL player, Pro Bowler, totally green to prisons. And so he asked me if I could take him on the road for a month, show him what I do in prisons and show him the GLA program. I said, come on, let's go. Let's go to prison, man. We were in Bonne Terre. We were in Potosi, Farmington. We went to Bartrum for a day where me and Mike spent the day with the superintendent there. We got to spend almost 2 hours on death row with the doors open. You have me and Mike who are guests, and then you have Mark McClure who's the authority. And when we go into these places, including death row, you see the faces of the men light up. They're happy to see Mr. McClure, who keeps a cooler of water in the back of his truck, loves on these guys. They could have cared less who we were. And I say that because me and Mike really tuned into that. We saw that servant leadership in that prison setting, and we were even me, after spending 6 years in prison, we knew we were seeing something for the first time together. We spent that month, I think we made 17 separate prison visits.
They talked about the inmate that has saved so many lives. He was on death row. I remember the warden let him be with his family. It was on family day when they called him to do the 2 weeks before he was executed. And that stays in my heart because the inmates that we met with, and you were there one time, and I was fortunate enough to be there that time. And just knowing the impacts that gentleman had on all those guys' lives. And I didn't even want to look, but I did look a few days later, and he was executed. But it just leaves that we're all sinners, man. We all do stupid things. We don't know that until we're the victim. And whatever he did, I don't even know what the gentleman did, but I know the impact he had on that prison. And it's everlasting.
You don't have to know how you fit here. You don't need to do 6 years to come in and have impact. You just need to come in and you need to be willing to serve. You need to be willing to say that iron sharpens iron. And if we do that together, it doesn't have to be clean. It can be messy. It can be organic. It can be all of these things. You may realize that you needed a coach too. And how much of us get better in life if we just had a coach to help us do it.
Yeah. Whether you played Little League or had a mentor at a job or just remembered a teacher that had an impact on your life, the reality is we all know we all need a coach. And we now get the opportunity to play that role in other people's lives. And the first way I want to draw your attention to is on your tables. You'll see these cards that say the Comeback Project on one side, and then on the other, it has a couple folks' pictures and a letter written from them. One from Trevor J., who has written to us, thanking us for being here and being a part of this vision and this comeback project. And the other is from Torry J., who also has said, you all have been a blessing to us here in JCCC. Trevor, never in my incarceration would I have ever believed we'd achieve this level of cooperation with staff and administration. And what we want to invite you to do is write Torry or Trevor back. When you get home, you see there's an address. These will go to Second Mountain so that Bo can get these to these young men and you can speak into their lives. And so we want to give you an opportunity to do that. Well, we get to hear one last story here tonight before we come back up and wrap things up. And we've saved the best for last, y'all. Coach Bartrum mentioned earlier about the impact of the children of those who were inside and how that had inspired him to get involved. And tonight, now we get to hear from one of those little ones who, with a unique set of courage and confidence and verve in her own spunky way, has a lot to offer to us. Her father's return wasn't just his comeback, but it was part of her restoration as well. Could we welcome up the daughter of Bo Cornelius, B?
Hey, friends. So, you know how they save the best for last? So today I'm going to tell you a story about a little girl who's about 4 years old. She lives in a brown house with black shutters at the bottom of a hill that is all too scary for her. She has 2 normal parents and a normal dog named Studi. It's a hot day in August, but it's cooling down as the sun sets. Her mom gets a phone call and they go rushing out of the brown house in the big car and up the scary hill. She has no idea where they're going. Mommy has that look on her face she always gets when Daddy comes home smelling bitter and acting funny. Her eyes light up as they turn the corner on a familiar street. Red and blue flash all around her, and there are people swarming Daddy's car. They're going to a party. Slowly, she realizes that they're not going to a party. No one looks like they're having any fun. As Mommy parks the car and picks her up, she sees her dad's truck, but something's wrong. It's all busted up. The red and blue get closer and the colors cause the trees to dance. If this isn't a party, why are the trees dancing? She tries to get Mommy to look at the trees and how much fun they're having, but she still has that funny look on her face, the one that isn't actually funny at all. Now she's 5, finally old enough for real school. The summer before she goes to kindergarten is the best summer she's ever had, and there's still a lot left. It's the rainiest morning in a long time, and she gets woken up earlier than normal. Her whole family is there, her grandma, her uncle, and her aunt. But soon, Mommy and Daddy drive off in the big car, and her life isn't so normal anymore. She learns how to read, write, and even ride a bike. She also learns how to waste time in a hotel for hours before and after prison visits. Now she's 7. She's wiggling out her first tooth in the prison's visiting room, and once it's finally out, the COs congratulate her and make her a tooth pouch out of legal pad paper. She's already come to the realization that her dad is in prison. Kids at school talk about spending time with their dads, and she feels a little left out. The time she spends with her dad is different than everyone else's. She does prison time while they do quality time. She's 9. The kids at her school are bullying her for her new haircut, but it's okay because she'll go home and when her dad calls, he'll make her feel all better. She's 9, but the COs start to think that she's old enough for them to intimidate her, make her feel like she is worth nothing more than her dad's bad decisions. A CO drives head on towards her mom's car and swerves, trying to stop them from entering the visit, cursing her and her mom out. Still, some of the COs made an effort to understand her situation, so she keeps her faith in the system. She's 11 and her dad is coming home in June. She's a little nervous. The single parent life, or solo parent, as her mom called it, has gotten so normal. She hasn't known a life with 2 parents at home in a long time. They have just moved into a new house, another milestone that her dad wasn't there for. Looking at the future, she begins to realize this could very well be the last milestone he'll miss. She's 14. She's standing in front of a crowd of supportive people eager to hear her story. Out of all of the racing messages and meanings in her head, there is one she wants to share above all the rest. When you go to prison, your family goes to prison with you. You are treated as though you are responsible for your relative's mistake. They do not stop to consider that maybe we are victims too. This was my experience, our experience. I tell this story to help others understand my interactions with the prison system. I know there are many of you in the room tonight who are prison staff and want to help make changes to prisons and prevent difficulties like we had. We appreciate it so much that you are willing to help make that change happen. That's why it's so important for you to help our mission. Unfortunately, my story is similar to many others across our country. All of us can contribute to change that. The first realization that could make real change is that nothing is black and white. No person is good or bad. It's easy to see the world in monochromatic ways when your privilege allows you to stay separate from hard things in life. I used to think that people in jail or prison were bad. Now I understand that no one should be judged by the worst thing they've ever done or the worst thing that's ever been done to them. While this is my story, there are some things that I notice about the system. Everyone involved with prison is treated with suspicion, even children. This gave me an anxious feeling in my chest every time I drove up that road, which would still be there if I went back today. There were a lot of cases where rules didn't make sense. Not only did these nonsensical rules affect my dad's experience, but also our family time. It's hard not to think that these rules were put in place to threaten or intimidate others, including kids like me. This is an example of how fear seemed to be used as a tactic in the visiting room. Fear of breaking the rules, fear of losing privileges, and fear of other families in the room. I can't believe that I ever grew to feel comfortable there. I guess that means I was institutionalized too. If someone who worked in the prison system asked me what I would want them to understand about being a kid with an incarcerated parent, I'd want them to know that authority figures are role models, whether they want to be or not. How they act matters and had a lasting impact on me. Some corrections officers were polite and even respectful, while others were indifferent and unkind. It took visit after visit for years for them to understand that I was not evil for loving someone who society viewed as a lawless criminal. These things and my experiences are why I feel proud to be involved with what our family does now. Some people are not born with a chance at a happy, productive life full of possibilities and opportunities. That's why it's our duty to understand their situations, demonstrate empathy, and come alongside them to help and support however we can. My voice is a voice for many others as well, including some people in the room tonight. Please welcome to the stage Brooklyn Owens, Aaron Owens, Kennedy Clayton, Kira Walker, Trey Walker, Arabelle Jeter, Rory Jeter, Elijah Miller, Travis Kelly, Jaden Eisenhower, and Harley Eisenhower Nunley, and anyone I've missed. And don't hide. Come on.
Can you wait? Hold on for a second, y'all. Let's make some noise again for what we just. Yeah. Wow. You guys are amazing. You guys give us hope. B, that was incredibly well said. And thank you for blessing us tonight. Thank you all so much. Yeah. Wow. I told y'all. She told y'all. She said, yeah, they say the best for last. Wow. Yeah, you guys can head on out now. Thank you so much. I'm still just sitting with what I just heard. The thoughtfulness, the clarity, the inspiration, the opportunities, and the danger. And the thing that I think B just reminded us of is hope. And what happens when people come home. And what can be possible. And you know, that's one of the things I think I love so much about football is everybody plays a role. It's the one sport where you see all different types of people. I love the fact that, you know, for the big guys, you got the front, those up front, the offensive line. For short little guys like me, you can be running backs. For the tall, skinny guys, there's wide receivers. And for those of us who, you know, those knees just won't cooperate, we can get a headset and coach on the sidelines and still get a ring. Everybody plays a part. And the Kansas City Chiefs didn't build a dynasty on one superstar. Yeah, no, I mean, I know Patrick Mahomes gets a lot of the glory and well-deserved, but he wasn't the only one, nor Travis Kelce, nor Chris Jones, nor Eric Bieniemy as a coach, or Andy Reid, or there was also Joe Tooney and Trent McDuffie and Steve Spagnuolo, and we can go on to list all those who have contributed, because it takes everybody doing their part. And even as you go to a facility like this and you see all those who are helping out to just keep the place running so that we could be here, they're part of the system, and they're part of the team, and they're part of the partnership. And here's the part of the night as we close where we get in the game. Yes, this is the part where we get to reflect on how can we invest in the comeback ourselves. I want you to turn your attentions to the pledge cards that are at your table. Can I get one of those so you can? Thank you, John. And you see it's this narrow card that says the comeback on one side, and it has some contact information. And we invite you to fill that out regardless of if you're in the position to give or not, as it allows us to continue to be part of the story. But as you look at this pledge card, I just want to highlight some of the things that on this side of it identifies that we are looking to raise, and we are believing that this work that has been started and contributed to by so many that are sitting here, that it will be able to not just continue, but even expand. So you see these different goals that we are setting out to raise. $50,000 for supporting warden training across the state and federal partners so that we can see more Warden Morrises raised up. and others that are leading in your various respects. We also have a $25,000 goal for providing 10 months of housing for re-entering citizens. This speaks to what Jonathan was telling us about earlier, about that network of what happens when you walk out of those doors. And part of his story was having an incredible support base to welcome him. And so that housing space is the beginning of that journey. We're hoping to raise $10,000 and for launching additional GLAs at new facilities. You know, I can speak from personal experience as having been the one that orchestrated bringing a Grammy award winning artist and a team of musicians and cameras, and bringing that stuff ain't free. And I know because we had to work hard to see that money raised to come in. And so what this does is it allows this launch of new GLA facilities to support programs that are essential to that process, programs that Major Davidson shared about in that video, programs that will allow this work to continue, and not just in the United States, y'all. It's now global. Bo has been to Brazil and helped them start a GLA. There's a GLA in Brazil. Am I right, my brother? Amazing. Global, yeah. This is what's happening. This work is going global. $5,000 is looking at each $5,000 unit supports leadership events inside prisons. Things like Prison Leadership Conference that is bringing world-class speakers and teachers to do GLA workshops. And these are folks that have been part of the Global Leadership Network and are teaching in these things, and are bringing those expertise, world-class expertise inside, and bridging that gap. And then $1,000 gift would support media and storytelling projects. You see all those incredibly well-done videos. Well, let's give it some love. Hey, John, get behind the pillar so people can see you. This brother right here, John Wojtasek, and his team at Golden Eagle Creative. I mean, they provide top-notch product. They are the ones that have edited all of these videos. And it takes investment to make these things happen, but we also have the Pull-Up podcast and all of the videos that we've seen happen that tell this important story. How can they hear unless someone is sent to tell the story? And so we want to encourage you to give a gift of any amount to help us reach these important objectives and steps. And there's just a few steps that we ask you to do that. One is to fill out your pledge card with the number, put it in this envelope that's been provided, and tuck it into the table centerpiece. If you'll notice on your table, there's these little mountain, like orange, and in the design, it's the Second Mountain logo. And the story behind the Second Mountain, this was something that Bo, while he was at Algoa, read a book by David Brooks, New York Times writer, contributor, incredibly world-class thinker. And he talked about how oftentimes in life there's a first mountain where you make life about yourself, and then tragedy happens, challenges happen, and then there's a second mountain where you realize that the goal of all of this and every breath that we have is to serve. And Bo has read that and taken that and applied that in so many ways. And so as we get an opportunity to put these envelopes and these cards on that mountain, it's a demonstration of contribution that we're making to the cause. And one fourth and last piece that I want to encourage you with is to spread the word. And this one is free, y'all. There's amazing things that we heard tonight, that we've seen tonight, and we want to encourage you to don't just keep it to yourself. but to let other people know about this type of transformation that is happening. And you can spread the word and get access to this content that we even have recorded by going to the same website where you RSVP'd, secondmountainleadership.org. And on that same page, we will provide access for you to actually share what happened here tonight as we collect it and gather it and put it together. And if you fill out, that's why we're saying, hey, fill out the contact, even if you're not in a position necessarily to give, because we want to stay in touch and stay connected. And so we want to give you a moment to reflect and to process and to make a decision. And so for a few moments, we're just going to have a time of some reflection with some music underneath, and then we'll wrap up this evening. So take some time. Well, we have come to just about the end of our time. We just have a few housekeeping items to connect with before we go. First of all, want to congratulate those who have won the silent auction items. Those winners have been notified. So if you have not been notified, better luck next year. Please come back and we'll see what happens then. But if you have, you can go back to where you placed the bids at the table to collect your winnings. Well, as we close tonight, I just want to leave you with this. In the beginning, we talked about the story captured in the Bible of a man named Joseph, a man whose story did not end in prison, but it was shaped there. In Genesis 39:21, it says, "But the Lord was with Joseph." That was in prison, y'all. And as this person who was navigating and struggling in a point of his life got out, he found himself with an opportunity because someone in a position of authority and leadership saw something in him that could be redemptive and restorative. And as a result, not only was that leader blessed, but everybody else who was a part of that kingdom in Pharaoh. And when Joseph finally confronted his brothers who had been harmful in his life and looked at his previous situations, he had this perspective: what was meant for evil is being used for the good, for the saving of many lives. And we believe that there's a similar redemptive story that can be told and will be told in each of these 19 institutions in Missouri and beyond and the rest of this country. And we can play a part in that process by opening our hearts, opening our wallets, our pocketbooks, and opening up our opportunity to tell others about what's happening here. Because transformation can happen even in confinement. And there's a better story that can be told. And so the Comeback Project is about finishing the story. It's about building systems that, where it is not inconceivable for stories like Jonathan Irons or Bo Cornelius's or others to happen, but they become the norm, where relationships between residents and staff reflect dignity, not just control or power, where rehabilitation is not the exception, but it's the expectation. So tonight, the question is not just, do we believe in comebacks? It's this: will we help build the kind of world where those comebacks are actually possible? Because somewhere right now, there's a Joseph, there's another Jonathan, there's another Bo being formed in a place the world has written off. And what happens next may depend on what we choose to build in this room. Because it's not about how you start, but comebacks remind us it's about how you finish. And we want to just welcome up one last time to give some final words and comments this dynamic duo and really this incredible family who have made this possible. Please join me in bringing up one last time Bo, Abby, B, are you coming up? Yeah, come on up, y'all. And send us off right.
So because I can't remember things like this, Abby's going to do the formal thank yous. I wanted to just take a minute and talk about, yeah, please sit down. I want to take a minute and yeah, I do talk a lot. Talk about what friendship, family, and kinship means to me after 40. Before prison, how I based my friendships was pleasure seeking, and if you didn't make me feel bad about myself, shameful behaviors, whatever that was, my criteria was pretty low. If you just didn't make me feel bad, we were cool. Prison showed me what leadership is, what serving is, what friendship is, what brotherhood is, and what real kinship is. And so I want to recognize, I guess, a few brothers, a few family members, a few people that challenge me, that disciple me, that teach me what it is to just be better. Those are the people I choose to surround myself with now. People who challenge me and make me see the better part of myself. People like Brian Kidd, people like Kyle Kempker, people like Norman Graham, people like Chris Ordway, Britt Reed. There are so many guys in this room, Chris probably 3 times this month and Jonathan last night, arguments that I have with these guys. I love them to death for pushing me, and not leaving me in those instances. That is iron sharpens iron. That is kinship. That is brotherhood. When we don't just get pissed off and take our ball and go home, right? We keep going. We build stuff. We make each other better. There are so many people in this room that make me and my family better. And so for that, I'm just so thankful. Thank you.
Hey, so he talks a lot, but someone he didn't mention is this lady right here. Thank you, baby. Good thing I'm not like a crying type. Stacy's probably bawling right now. Anyway, I wanted to say formal thank yous to the people. And by the way, when you talk about arguments, do you know what your driver's license is?
No.
Yeah. That's like argument number 1 at our house. Where's my license? Okay, first I want to thank Ellie Ariano is our assistant. Bo and I hired her just in January when Ellie and I reconnected. She was actually my student at Blue Valley North High School a zillion years ago. Now she's working on a social work degree, and she has joined Second Mountain as our assistant, and we couldn't have done any of this without her. She was all over that silent auction back there. She's been super helpful to us in every way, so all the big thank yous go to Ellie. I also, yeah. There she is. Oh, she's running towards us right now because she heard us talking about it. I also want to thank Rasool so much, Bo's colleague at Our Daily Bread Ministries. Oh, yeah, there's been arguments with Rasool too, probably. I don't know. I just hear about some things. So thanks, Rasool, for hosting this awesome event. Just the perfect person to do that. I would love to thank John Watasik. He's our producer. He makes all the videos on our website. He does the cards, he contracted all that stuff. His team at Golden Eagle Creative, as well as we have a few photographers from Blue Valley CAPS program that have been helping us here and working with John. We appreciate you for coming also. I want to thank our guitar player, Sid Linnefeld, who's also my student from Blue Valley North, and he already left because he was done playing, so he's like, you can just give me some cash later, and I was like, cool, go. I want to thank our board members. We're going to be adding to our board soon, hopefully, but thank you to the board members in the room who have helped guide us and give us advice. I also need to thank my friends. When Bo talks about friends and people who don't leave, my friends have been here helping. A lot of them took the day off, which means that they are paying to help volunteer here today with their own personal time. So I want to thank Ann Salambini, who, by the way, she needs extra snaps because she braved the middle school car line
for the first time, a car line for the first time ever to get B here. So thank you to Ann. Thank you to Aaron Nathan, who delivered some of our items and helped us throughout the thing. My friends in the jean jackets, Roxy, Steph, Jess, and Mary, they all did not plan on doing that, but they all showed up at my house today wearing jean jackets, so good for them. And then Mary is responsible for the Second Mountain cookies on your table. She's got a side hustle too, so she made all of those, thank you, and donated them. Thank you, Mary. Our visitors from MODOC and from the Federal Bureau of Prisons, thank you for traveling to come be a part, and all of you really, for caring about the things that we care about. Whether we are given these things in life because we deserve them, or because we won the bad luck lottery, or because we have these interactions that are supposed to teach us something. Whatever the reason, thank you for being here to care about the things we care about. And then finally, the last people that we need to thank are Brian and Stacy Kidd. I literally wrote on my sheet, for all the reasons. So Brian and Stacy have been our biggest funders. We just bumped into them at an event in Chicago a few months after Bo was out. They have funded most of Second Mountain, and they are two people who work in corporate America who make money to give it away, and we appreciate them so much for working with us, believing in the things that we believe in, and none of this would have happened without them. Brian's retiring next week, so he's joining the board of Second Mountain on Saturday, and then he'll have a lot of work to do. I'm just kidding. Maybe not on Saturday. You can wait till Monday. And finally, Rasool said it earlier, and this is the last thing that I want to say. I'm super done, and we'll talk very fast. People ask us all the time, oh, you have a nonprofit, that's so great. What can I do to help? Do you have any volunteer opportunities? There are two things that nonprofits need more than anything else. One is money, and it is very difficult to fundraise for a group of people that have violated the public trust. And so we try to help those people in many, many ways, but it is a lot easier to raise money for foster kids who deserve it, and people who are recovering from terrible injuries or accidents or illnesses. Like, this is a very difficult population to raise money for, and we appreciate you helping us in that. So raising that money, and the easiest way to do that is to spread the word. Rasool said it before, but don't ever shut up about this thing. And that will be one of the best ways to help us. Hopefully next year we have 280 people instead, and it just gets bigger and bigger than after that. So we appreciate you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for caring about what we care about. Thanks. And if you bought things, go grab them, mingle, get to know people, shake hands, and we love you. Good night.